expectations were pretty low going into the trade negotiations this week, and the president not making matters better. He's just upping the pressure on Beijing.
Yeah, I think that the president here is ratcheting up the rhetoric just ahead of these senior level talks in Beijing. Now, the fact that these talks are happening at all was seen as a pretty big sign, right? There had been a lot of standoff and tension. President Trump and Xi Jinping dramatically meet at the G20 in Osaka. Very warm rhetoric that comes out of that. A truce, no additional tariffs coming in, the resumption of trade talks. And I think that there was some thought in the market that, hey, look, we're really on a great track. We're going to get right where we need to be, and this is going to be the thing that breaks it down. And the problem is that really kind of papers over some of the really stiff differences that China and the U.S. have had at all. So instead of getting into a situation where people are ratcheting up rhetoric and ratcheting up tariffs, where we are now is actually back to where we were before, before things really got worse. And that is at this real impasse point where China and the U.S. have to sit down and make some real tough decisions about some things that have been keeping them apart. Remember, they had gotten through to the point that there was some sort of framework of the deal under President Trump's telling that he says China walked away from. China says the U.S. sort of didn't do what it was supposed to do. But they had left a lot of the really tricky issues that hadn't necessarily gotten solved. And so that's where we're now back to. And so that's kind of the framework I would put all of this meeting in.
Has there been any change in Beijing's position, whether it be lifting those tariffs or some relief for Huawei?
No, there really hasn't. Now, Trump has signaled that Huawei is going to be one of the things that's last on the list, but Beijing is looking for some compromises here across a range of issues. I think this is going to be one of the key things to see where the U.S. bends, if they bend at all, in some of these talks this week in Beijing. Now, I think that one of the critical things that we have to be looking for is as you mentioned, on Huawei and on all of these sort of contagion things. You've started to see some other companies get rolled in, most notably FedEx and some stuff to do with shipments of Huawei products. I'm not sure whether or not that's fully connected, but certainly there's a view on the U.S. side that it's not completely disconnected. And so you could be looking for whether or not some of those sideline contagion corporate risks are contained if they go down, if there's not an escalation there. That would certainly represent a positive sign. But back to the president's tweet about agricultural products, the U.S. Clearly not thinking that agricultural product purchases have come up. Of course, China has said that it wants the U.S. to do some things, before it starts there. So there's some points for clarity that can be made this week that would be maybe little things, but might signal that things are going in a positive direction.
Well, Derek, what about some of the president's other tweets suggesting that China may be waiting things out until 2020 and seeing who's sitting in the White House then? This issue is so big and thorny and multifaceted. What are the actual chances of an eventual deal ever being cut?
Well, I think I would take the president's tweets on that subject as a sign that he is very cognizant that there is a Democratic debate in Detroit tonight. The president is very cognizant that he's going to be running an election campaign, and there has been a move from this White House to try and paint Democrats soft on China. The reason for this is similar to where Democrats are debating right now. They're debating in Detroit, Michigan. It is at the very beating heart of the American Rust Belt, and part of where in America there is a big feeling that China has taken advantage of the U.S. for a long time. Now, Donald Trump in 2016 won a lot of these states. He won Pennsylvania, he won Michigan, he won Wisconsin. It was key to his White House bid. You should look at this as a little bit of election framing going on right now ahead of that Democratic debate later tonight.